been introduced. Warren Nyamugasira, Managing Director of African Monitor based in Cape Town, South Africa. The African Monitor was founded in 2006 to look at the commitments that had been made around 2005 for increased resources to Africa, in respect of whether they get to the poor. I have a personal experience with poverty that we are trying to fight. I grew up in a very poor peasant rural family in southwestern Uganda. It's good that we don't have winter because I didn't have a blanket. I used my mom's clothes, that she uses during the day to cover myself at night. I didn't have shoes or anything like that. My trousers were torn, so my behind was exposed except for school uniform. I really lived in poverty. This gentleman, one time I was completely stuck. He took me to his house and said to me, I'm going to assist you every month when I get paid. I do set some money aside. I'm going to give you what you need, and I will not require that you give it back, but I will require or ask you that one day when you are able, you do it for someone else. For me, that's the message of what genuine true aid should be. You rescue someone because they need that resource, but you empower them so they use that resource well and are able to give a return by supporting someone else. It was the IDA, the World Bank, that actually funded the school where I was at, which was opened in 1971. I think it shows you how old I am getting. So again, I have been a direct beneficiary. I mean, I've seen this, I've worked with NGOs and the like, but I was a direct beneficiary of a school that didn't have equipment for science education or anything like that, and have seen what aid properly used can achieve. And now I work with African Monitor, and we are going to the grassroots and asking people. We do have a report, for example, of Voices of the Poor from South Africa, people saying, what is it that we receive and how is it helping us? So people themselves are being empowered not only to speak, but to be able to monitor those resources to see, how much of it is coming down. And I am there because not just it's a job, but I'm passionate because I know that it did transform my own life. Indeed, from our monitoring work, I would like to confirm that your government is being considered as one of the sort of leaders in coming good on their commitments. And in fact, in April, we did, my president, who is a former Archbishop in the Anglican Church, did write a letter to your Prime Minister to thank him for this commitment and for the leadership that he has provided in ensuring that aid remains top on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Building on what Warren said about his life, I want to tell you that the situation has improved, but there are still many people in Uganda that experience worse than probably what Warren experienced. There are many people who don't even have social networks that will help them get out of that kind of poverty. We all know that Uganda has registered a lot of progress in terms of GDP, with the population of about 31 million. there's a lot of improvement in education with support from organizations like DFID and other donors. A lot of improvements in health statistics and so forth. But our organization, Development Research and Training, is a research organization. We undertake research that looks into government policies that are targeting poverty, and looking at whether these programs or policies are actually reaching the poor that they are intended to be reached by this policy. And so we carried out research along with the Chronic Poverty Research Center based in Manchester, and found that there is a huge number of people that are not reached by any of these poverty eradication policies, whether in education, whether it's health, whether HIV, AIDS, agriculture, they are not reached at all. And the numbers were quite shocking, because many people will think if there's a poverty eradication program, then it will reach the poor. But we found that 26% of the population, which is 20,000 households, are not reached at all by these policies. They are chronically poor. They are very, very, very poor. They live in perpetual need due to lack of basic necessities. There are people who remain poor for long periods of time and even transmit poverty. Their children inherit poverty and they remain poor. And many of them are widows, others are people with disabilities, others are maybe children on the streets, others are orphans, the elderly, landless people. We have engaged with government to convince government that they must do something for this category of people. And right now we are talking about social protection, protecting, developing a policy to protect these people from getting deeper into poverty, but also protect others who are above the margin, who are on the margin, from falling into poverty. And we've recommended, and DFID is supporting this very much, on a social protection policy, a policy that will help these people be protected from falling into deeper poverty. So social protection is important. In the West, you have social protection for people who are unemployed. You give them some means to survive. And so we feel that this social protection policy will be very good to protect these people, because they are unproductive. They are not contributing to development. And if you keep with a 3.3% population growth, if more people fall into that category, very soon we'll have 50% of the population maybe in chronic poverty.